Arena is one of the most important areas of the game, and you need to stop ignoring it. Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock, and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Now, I'm not saying that everybody is ignoring regular classic Arena, but I see it a lot. I really do. I actually had to make it a rule in my clan that members needed to maintain gold 5. Now we do allow, a little bit of leeway there, especially because the reset just happened. So people that aren't active probably got bumped down to gold 4 just, until they can get a couple games in and get back up to gold 5, right? But it's actually a really big deal. And most of you already know a lot of what's going to be in this video, but there may be some, things that you didn't already know about Arena, and I'm going to try to cram those in to a 20-minute video here. So real quick, if you're looking to be part of my account takeover series, join the Discord below. But a little heads up, I'll be prioritizing accounts that were started with my exclusive promo link. This will also guarantee you a free legendary Elenaril and 3 amazing free epics as you level up. Here's what you need to do. Log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. You'll get Elenaril for free along with Uugo, Tagoar, Rector Drath, and a better chance at a takeover, so click my link right now. The main thing that is really important about Arena is the fact that it's giving you stats. And that's everywhere in the game, right? So as gold 5, I'm getting 22% extra HP, 22% extra attack, and 22% extra defense. Now, imagine trying to do Nightmare Clan Boss and being told that you have 22% less stats. If you're bronze 1 and your mission is Clan Boss and you're like, I only care about Clan Boss, I don't care about Arena, you're really hurting yourself because you're fighting the Clan Boss with one hand tied behind your back because you don't have the extra stats that comes from Arena. Those bonuses are even better if you can hit Platinum, but I want to be clear about Platinum. It's not the easiest thing to do. Fact. From changing over, then you're gonna have a hard time really getting up there. So, but gold 5 is very easy to get in. I did it on the free-to-play challenge. I was consistently in gold 5. Sure, I had to take a bunch of free victories like this one instead of winning against real teams, but I'm here to kind of talk to you about a couple of team options, but I want to get why it's important for you. So the other big part is the Great Hall. This is where you're going to get even more stats, right? You can see I've got a lot of crit damage here. Usually you want to build your accuracy portion first, but this account is very old, but I slack on Arena a little bit. Kind of why I'm making the video. I'm telling myself these things too. And so it ended up being that crit damage was more valuable to me, and then other specific affinities have higher values to me because I need defense and HP in other areas of the game for a specific champion that I'd like to be a little bit stronger, stuff like that. So I'm kind of, I'm way behind where I should be in the Great Hall. You should be getting lots of Arena battles in every day, but at least do your 10. That's what I try to do at minimum. I try to knock out my 10 Arena battles a day. Yes, you could just do 5 and get the daily quest done, but knocking out 10 is double that amount, which is only better for you. If you go even further and you do use a lot of your refills, you can get a lot of battles in very quickly too, especially if you're running a speed team or something like that. It's a very important part of the game. Beyond just quests and missions and all that stuff, it's essential to the progress because you don't want to be competing with people in Hydra Clash and be 10-15% stats less because you're in a lower level of gold than everybody else that you're competing against, right? So just some things to think about and why Arena is important. But let's kind of talk about Arena strategy a little bit, right? There's a couple of different teams to familiarize yourself with. You have go first teams, you have go second teams. I know there are kind of other ones out there. We're going to focus on those two just for the sake of time in the video. So we'll refresh this here and let's just find a team that seems kind of not too crazy. Be careful with your go first teams into a tournament like this, because if you're rocking Arbiter, who I'm going to demonstrate here because she's free for everybody, you can sometimes get frozen because of the entire kit and how that works with Torment. So you want to watch out for Torment when you're talking go first teams for the most part, right? I have a few different go first teams. I'm going to try to avoid anything too crazy, kind of show you like the beginner level of a go first team and then kind of ramp that up. So let's just clear this out and let's just go with some champions here. So the Arbiter. So you want Arbiter to be your lead. She gives you a speed aura. She gives you a turn meter boost with increased attack, which if you guys remember my free-to-play challenge account, I was using 2 champions to do that, 2 epics to get my speed aura, my boost, and my increased attack. So I get all of that with Arbiter, all of that in one champion, which is a big deal. Next, we'll just go with Uugo. Accuracy 424, so we should be landing our decreased defense, right? But she's a very common champion that a lot of players can get very early, either via a link code, like I said, or you might pull one. I just think Ugos are kind of pretty common and a good decreased defense champion. Now, on this account, this being my main account, I don't really have any. I'm trying to find people that aren't in Savage. All right, guys, so I decided to go with this team. Fushan, I don't think that many people will have him, but Rathalos, I decided to go with because I think a lot of people will have him, and I just wanted to show their builds. Now, I'm deliberately picking champions on my account who are already built because I don't feel like building champions just for this video, but are not built extremely well, right? We've only got 99% crit rate, 230% crit damage, 6,000 attack. Like, they're not awful, okay? I want to be clear about that, but you'll notice that I'm using 2 nukers, okay? We'll show the Rathalos build here, and you'll notice that they are in stats over sets, right? No Savage, nothing like that. And I might not be able to win this speed race, which is going to be kind of embarrassing for me, but okay, so we're going to try with against this team. They're a bit of a tankier team. I don't really know, I haven't been able to see what this team runs. If they're running all stone skin, we're going to be in some trouble, right? But that's not the point here. The point is just to demonstrate what, you know, a team can do. So we do have some stone skin here to deal with, but I'm bringing 2 nukers because I don't really have Savage. And you can see we killed 1, right? But we didn't get a lot of people down. And we do have to worry about revives and things like that. So it's going to take a little bit longer, but the big important part is that we won that speed battle, right? So we'll take out the Mountain King because he's going to be their damage dealer. Slowly whittle her down and just wait for the stone skin to fall off of Pythion. There we go. Do have a slight problem coming in with the Hex. That's not necessarily something we want to be dealing with. And the builds on these guys are like not terrible, but they're also not going to break the bank. Now, we should be okay because we're going to get a revive here, and hopefully we can get... Oh, I forgot about the Lydia. Of course I did. I always do. Let me see if I can get some turns in before Pythion gets to revive again, and then we can gain control of this fight. Okay, not too bad. Let's give increased attack to Rathalos, and I think we're going to be okay. All right, I think this is going to be the last opportunity we're going to have to be able to kill. We should be able to revive safely here, and this is going to hit hard enough. Almost. Almost. That looked like a counterattack. Let's get a little turn meter in, and... Hey, there we go.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Use 1 nuker, right? Something along those lines. So why don't we go ahead and move up to the next difficulty. All right, so this is kind of leveled up version of that team a little bit. Instead of Uugo, I've gone ahead and used Lydia. Now, Lydia is a free champion, which is kind of why I picked her, but there are a few different options. Mostly I'm looking for decreased defense. She brings decreased defense and weaken, which is really nice. But if I look at like the decreased defense champions that are on my roster, you know, you're looking for an AoE decreased defense champion, Ragash is a good option there. I think that Mishinaki is a good option in that realm. If you're looking for other epics that, you know, you've got Tayrel as an option, Deacon, of course, as an option for decreased defense. Mistwriter Dithey is a good one. Dukta Pierced is a good one. Like, there's a lot of good options for AoE decreased defense, right? And then Madame Saris is up there as well, right? And Madame Saris is really, really special because she brings that decreased defense and decreased attack and is void affinity, which is nice, and brings other fun stuff in her kit as well. So there are a lot of good options, but I went ahead with Lydia because she is free to everybody, right? You can get her from Faction Wars, and she brings a lot more utility than just the decreased defense and weaken, because she does both of them, which is even better than just a decreased defense. This slot right here, let me take this filter off and I can show you that this slot right here is one that you can kind of mix up a little bit. I like to look at this slot and use maybe a crowd control or some type of manipulator to help me in case maybe my Sun Wukong doesn't cut it, and I'll show you his build in just a second. So I'm deciding to go with Basher here, but a few other options, you know, Armand's is probably the most obvious one for most people, right? You do Arbiter into Armand's locks them down with stun, and then you get to take your turn that way. There are a few other options. You could go with a freeze, you could go with provoke, other champions that stun, right? Ragash being one of those champions. There are a few different options. I think Lady Kimmy, you know, is a good one. If we look at epic options, Deacon comes to mind there as well. If you struggle, maybe you can't get your DPS or your other champions fast enough, you could bring another turn meter booster, right? There are a few different approaches and options that you could go to look for some kind of additional help when you finally get a champion that is built in Savage gear, right? So the Wukong is built in Savage. Now, I don't think he's my best built champion or anything, but we are 205 speed, 100% crit rate, 285% crit damage at 5,900 attack. Not my best build at all, right? But he is a good option for a lot of players because he was free. So that's why we're going to go with him, right? So everybody except Basher here is kind of free. And honestly, Basher, you could put in Alice there, right? I would build Alice as a nuker. That's how I built her on the free-to-play challenge. But if you were to use her, she kind of does the same thing that Basher does in this team. So I haven't tested this. Hopefully this works well. See if we can beat this team here. See if we win the speed battle. So we lose the speed battle, so we're probably going to lose this fight. And I'm going to have to find another team to battle. All right, so we win the speed battle, and everything works kind of the same as before, right? We speed boost into our decreased defense and our weaken in this case, right? Because Uugo doesn't bring that. And then I lock them out just in case that they get a turn, right? Which you saw they did, right? Demitha was faster than my Wukong. They got a turn, but she only used her A1. And then with Sun Wukong, we'll just go ahead and, let's just target their Wukong. And there you go, right? So he's in Savage. He ignores a ton of defense, hits a lot harder than the other champions that I showed you guys, right? In the first build. So let's find Wukong here. I'll show you his build again. So he is in Savage. Again, not anything crazy about his build. I would say that, you know, for your nukers, you want to try and get them in crit damage gloves as soon as you can. Get them in Savage when you can as well. My Alice did crazy damage on the free-to-play challenge account, and she was in crit rate gloves, right? So sometimes that's okay, but eventually get to a point where you're able to get your crit damage gloves and find crit rate on the individual pieces in the kit to put you over that 100% or on that 100%, and you'll get more damage value. So that's kind of like the mid-level team. And then I'm gonna kind of move on to my favorite team here, the team that I use the most, and kind of show you guys that. Okay, so I decided not to go with my favorite team and just kind of show you a little more upgraded version, basically a little more lockdown kind of stuff in here. And then I'm bringing Thor. Thor's not my best nuker. That would probably be like Mezamel or something, just like pure damage nuker, but I think Thor will do fine for what I'm kind of trying to demonstrate here. And we'll see if we can win the speed battle. Of course, that's always the key. All right, we definitely win the speed battle here. So this is where I'm really trying to control the fight, right? So I win the speed battle. I try to gain control with our Mons, right? We get the stun on most of them. We can even polymorph if we want to. It doesn't land. That's fine. I think this is tricky because we don't want Nice to kill us here, but we'll go ahead and give this a shot. All right, so he transforms. Do I have another turn? Good. We have enough to at least provoke him. He still gets an A1, but we're okay now. So, and then Thor will finish this off. So this is, you know, as you can see, like I didn't bring a decreased defense or a weaken or any of those other concepts that we looked at in the other teams. This one was more about just gaining control and utilizing a champion that just hits really, really hard, even without that ignore defense and weaken. I don't think a lot of newer kind of like or mid-game accounts are really going to be able to achieve the damage output, especially to be able to one-shot a UDK without some decreased defense and weaken, right? So just some things to think about. You have to work with what's best for your account, but I kind of wanted to demonstrate a few different options for you guys. The last thing, I'm going to try to make this quick here for you guys, is a go second team. All right, so this is my go second team. A lot of you are going to be screaming at me.
Yes, definitely.
Because the combo of these two does not really work. I understand that. However, they are bringing a lot of AoEs. So essentially, if you know anything about Mortu Macabre, he is the final boss in the campaign. So you have probably experienced his peril. Okay, so this ignores all defense. So you don't need a decreased defense champion. His damage is based on HP, but he needs to take damage in order for it to proc. And sometimes that doesn't work well with single target champions, but we should be okay against this. So we'll see. And then I bring Harima as well in this team. Now, Harima is not in Stone Skin. She's kind of my alternative damage dealer. She is built relatively well. The concept for Harima, she's in lethal, 6,900 defense, 103 crit rate, 369 crit damage. The concept with bringing Harima on this particular team is more to help reduce the incoming damage from any ignore defense mechanics based on her passive. Enemy ignore defense effects are decreased by 50%, right? So we have a higher chance of living, and that, you know, even though we are running Stone Skin with all the strips and then polymorph and stuff like that, right, we could run into some trouble. So let's see how this goes, and we'll give it a shot here. So as you can see, they go first, they polymorph. All right, so we took some damage. So now I get to go. Obviously, you saw everyone was in Stone Skin. Now we get Harima to go. Let's just use her A3. Cool, we did a pretty big chunk of damage, right? That kills the Wukong, and I did get a peril proc. That's this ability right here. And there you go, right? So I want to explain it just a little bit more. A go second team, Stone Skin makes them far easier. But like, if you remember that first team that I had, even if you took Stone Skin out of the equation of that little 5-man group, that first team that I had that was using stats over sets and not using Savage and stuff, they're not getting through this team. Stone Skin helps elevate that team, but you can build go second teams without that, right? You can just depend on a Harima to reduce their ignoring defense mechanics. You can depend on a UDK to protect your team from hits, right? So he, you know, someone tries to target, in this case, Pythion or your Duchess or your Reviver, your Arbiter even, right? They're going to hit that UDK. So there are a few different ways to kind of build go second teams. I think the easiest way to do it, or at least for me and my account, because I don't have certain champions that may elevate it further, is to utilize Stone Skin to really get that go second effect. You just run yourself slow, force them to hit your biggest, heaviest targets like a UDK, and then go after they go, right? Those are a few different concepts. I see far too often people in different levels of arena, including in my own clan, who don't really have a team that makes sense. I see it a lot where people will run something with like an attack aura. I saw a lot, especially in the free-to-play challenge, where people were using Alice as their aura lead because she had the attack aura. and then they would lose the speed battle and lose the fight despite the build on their Alice. Or they don't run decreased defense or weaken. They aren't running 2 nukers. They're trying to force feed a stats over sets nuker into a single nuker combo and just having these long, drawn out back and forth fights that really take up more of your time. And sure, maybe you win after 10 minutes of fighting, but that doesn't really do you any good. Bring another nuker in that situation, or bring a decreased defense champion. If you don't have Arbiter, bring somebody else. For example, let's say you're kind of early game and your best lead is a Deacon, right? Deacon brings turn meter manipulation and decreased defense, but not increased attack. So you could pair that with something like Seeker. Doom Priest brings increased attack. Gotta look at optimizing the value of your nuker, right? Build around that nuker. Make that decision. That's what I did on the free-to-play challenge. Alice was my nuker. I said, she's my nuker. I'm going to use her as a nuker. And I built my team around it. And I ran a level 40 High Katoon, a level 40 Spirit Host, who was a rare, and Uugo as my decreased defense champion. And I was able to win a lot of fights early on. Eventually, once I got up into the realm of facing Arbiters, I lost the speed battle because she is far faster than a level 40 High Katoon in very early game gear, right? So there are limitations. That's why I wanted to showcase a Go Second team. I realized that wasn't the best showcase of it because, you know, you're not going to have a 6-star Harima or a fully stone skin UDK. So there are definitely areas that an older account like mine are going to have an advantage, but look for your advantages. Who are your strongest champions and how can you elevate them in a fight? All right, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I'll make that outro short. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Take care.